This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Friday? Hope you guys are getting ready for what might be a fun holiday weekend for you guys. It's going to be a big Memorial Day around here. Always want to remember the reason for Memorial Day as you guys are getting ready for your long weekend. We want to say thank you to the troops and everyone who makes it possible to live in the United States of America. Thanks for everybody for joining us today on our Friday edition. You can watch us on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Twitter. You can listen to us on Apple Podcast, Amazon, or Spotify. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed, rated, or reviewed the show. You can tell your friends about the show and get them to jump on in as we're trying to grow a little bit here and there. What are we going to do today on a Friday? There's a lot going on, a ton going on, really. Let's see. I got a bunch of things on my notes. Alabama football players working out in Tampa this past week. I've got the NCAA lawsuits kind of resolution there. Alabama's playing Tennessee. They're actually getting underway to play Tennessee right now. You can follow all the updates, our live updates on BamaCentral.com. Katie Wyndham manning the live updates for Alabama against Tennessee in the NCAA Super Regional. We'll talk a little bit about summer school as it was an important day today for Alabama football and basketball. And we want to talk about Philip Planensek. You think, who is Philip Planensek? Philip Planensek is making Alabama history right now on the men's tennis team. And you think, oh, we haven't talked tennis all year. You're right. They're in the middle of the NCAA tournament right now, and Philip Planensek has qualified for the Final Four. So let's get right into that. He makes Alabama history, becoming he's gone the furthest, further than any other Alabama player in program history. You had Mason Uzama. Mason Uzama was the only other player to get to the round of 16. No, he got to the quarterfinals. In, what was that, 2016, 2017. I was still in school when that happened, still in school at the University of Alabama. But Planensek moves to 25-13 and goes to the Final Four. So he's going to take on Michigan State sophomore Ozan Barris. Barris is ranked 9th in the country in singles, but look, there's no reason for Planensek to be fearful. He's taken down a bunch of ranked opponents already in this tournament run. He's already beaten 3 top 20 players. Planensek beat number 17, Cannon Kingsley from Ohio State in the round of 32. He took down number 5 in the country, Michael Braswell from Texas. Michael Braswell was on like a 36 match winning streak. And then he just defeated a young man from Harvard. He just defeated Cooper Williams, number 15th ranked player in the country today from Harvard. So congratulations to Philip Planensek. And we'll just start right there. When did you know that a sport wasn't for you? Because, look, I enjoy tennis on television, and absolutely congratulations to Philip Planensek. I'm talking more playing sports. I picked up the tennis racket a couple times in high school, but let me tell you an interesting story, a funny story to me. I worked summer maintenance at a school 2 or 3 summers in a row. And this was when I realized, tennis is not your sport, Joe. They got a big old tennis center up there in Chattanooga at the school that I was working maintenance for. And at this school, you got a bunch of day camps, girls and boys day camps, youths, having something to do in the summer. And one of them was tennis based. And the female counselors for the little girls tennis camp came up to the maintenance staff and said, "Oh, you guys need to come play with us, see if you can hang." And myself and other coworkers were soundly defeated by maybe 5th and 6th grade girls playing tennis. So look, tennis was never my forte, but Philip Planensek, it is his forte as he makes the Final Four. He's going to be going to the semifinal match tomorrow against Michigan State. Michigan State, I just said it, Ozan Barris. So we'll see if they can make that happen. The start time is going to be, no. When did she put this out? to reach the semifinals with the victory over Cooper Williams. Yeah. She just put that out. Oh no, he won. He's making the finals. This is crazy. This is nuts. He's made the finals. That's what he is. So his finals will be tomorrow. We've got Plan and Sec right there, right? Yeah. So he's advancing to the finals. He defeated the Michigan State guy in 3 sets today, 7-5, and then he lost 5-7, and then he won 7-6 in the finals. So he's going to the finals. So congratulations to him. He's now beaten 4 ranked opponents in a row after winning today. Yeah, I knew that didn't sound right as it was coming out of my mouth. He's actually going to the finals tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. And so we'll see if he can become an individual national champion. He would beat me in his sleep. All right, let's get into what's going on campus today. 2 things have gone on campus today with football and with basketball. With football, you look at the weekend and you look at the calendar and you say, oh, it's Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's getting excited. But on Tuesday, Summer 1 gets started. If you are in school right now, you got just a few more days to get ready for Summer 1. Tuesday, May 28th gets started. And so what does that mean for the Alabama football team? Well, everybody's going to be reporting to the facility and to campus, getting ready for summer school. And what that means is the rest of the class of 2024 and the transfers, the spring transfers, will all be moving in this weekend. You got our guy, Amari Jefferson, finishes baseball season at Baylor. You got Ryan Williams, just graduated from Saraland. You got Jay Lindsay. You got Stephen Buamua from Canada. You got a lot of guys, Quentin Reese from up there in Birmingham. So the rest of the class, Kevin Riley right here in Tuscaloosa, is moving into campus this weekend. And so finally, the entire team, the 2024 team, will be together starting pretty much today, tomorrow. They're getting moved in, and everything's getting underway on Tuesday with Summer 1. On the basketball side of things, the same sort of thing. Alabama announces 5 additions to the Alabama basketball roster, and it's basically all the transfers. Aiden Holloway, Houston Millette, LeBaron Philon, it gets added into it. Chris Youngblood, and then, of course, Clifford Amori as well. So very exciting time for the new season is basically, summer's, you got 99 more days until Alabama kicks off. Well, everybody's moving in this weekend if you're on the football or basketball team, and you get started on the new year. So I think that's a very exciting thing. What also excited me this past week was seeing Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson. You saw Devontae Smith. You saw a lot of Alabama players down in Tampa. Now, look, Jalen Milroe did this last year with a lot of with a handful of the Alabama football players. But exciting to me to see Ty Simpson be a part of it. It seems like he's all in, whether he's going to be quarterback 2 or whether he works his way into the job. If Jalen gets hurt, we'll see. But to me, Jalen Milroe just continues to exude strong leadership on this Alabama football team. People can talk about his, different abilities or his ability to read a defense or throwing mechanics, this, that, and the other. And his throwing mechanics do look better in a lot of the social media videos that we've seen coming out of Jordan Palmer's quarterback camp. His throwing mechanics do look less hitchy, does look more fluid, and I think that he's seriously worked on his mechanics under the new coaching staff, and obviously in the offseason. You'll have to see how that translates to live action in the fall. But everything with Jalen Milroe looks 10%, 5% better, and makes me very, very excited. I just think that to have a brand new coaching staff, it's going to be very important to have a guy like Jalen Milroe on your team to where, all the players look to Jalen as the leader. He is the guy that, the player leader. And so he can take Kalen DeBoer's message. He can take everybody, all the coaching staff and, the game plan and get everybody rallied around it. I think that's going to be very, very important for Alabama. Next week, we'll start breaking down the schedule. I know I've said that pretty much every week in May, but there's always been something else to talk about. I'm saving the football predictions for when there's not anything going on and not anything to talk about. I've already reached out to my friend Joey Van Zimmeren. We're going to talk about Missouri. We're going to talk about Mississippi State with Jacob Bain, get a little preview on the next year, and we'll obviously talk about Alabama as well. We'll go through the schedule, go wins and losses for all 16 SEC teams in 2024. We'll figure out who we think is going to win the league in the next week or so with those guys. let's go back to yesterday's show. Yesterday, I want to thank our friend Matt Guzman from Inside the Spurs joining us to talk about the NBA, and we'll bring him back on pretty soon to continue to talk about the NBA and the Spurs as the draft gets closer. Next Wednesday, reminder, next Wednesday is the draft deadline. May 29 is the draft withdrawal deadline. If you're listening for a Mark Sears prediction, maybe you fell for a fake Mark Sears tweet. No decision has been made. Mark Sears is still in the process of working out. He's got two more workouts. He's going to work out for the Houston Rockets and for the Milwaukee Bucks. So he's still right there in the crux of his decision. Nothing's been decided yet. I think that the popular lean is for Mark Sears to return. But again, nothing is decided yet. It's still in the middle. The pendulum is swinging. But what we talked about yesterday, okay, yeah, that was our tangent, Matt Guzman. We talked about yesterday, we opened the show with NCAA lawsuits, and basically everything has been agreed to, at least on the preliminary side. The NCAA and the power conferences are going to split up $2.7 billion paid to athletes who played between 2016 and 2021. And then subsequently, each power conference school will start a revenue sharing system of around $20 million per year, or 22% of the annual athletic department revenue. Framework for that could start as early as 2025. And they say plaintiff lawyers estimate that athletes could earn around $20 billion in total over 10 years. You saw a lot of reaction yesterday. Oh my gosh, college sports is dead. Oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. Look, the reason that all this has happened is greed and this, oh my gosh, amateurism. It's not amateur football. It's not amateur basketball. These guys are high-level business, big business. If it wasn't big business, you wouldn't see ESPN and its television partners paying lots of money for the rights of the SEC and for the college football playoff. This has been big business for my entire lifetime. And probably you can make an argument going even further back than that. Oh, but you get a scholarship. Yeah, great. You get a free math class and a free history class. But you might leave school with 3 concussions, or you might leave school without an ACL or an Achilles, and great, you've got your education, but there's the trade-off's not exactly right. And it never has been exactly right. And so while, okay, you're taking a big old chunk out of these athletic department budgets, it's been a long time coming. The athletic director for Notre Dame basically lamenting the way that college sports is going, because the power players are losing power. So they're the ones complaining. I find it funny when the average fan says, "Oh, college football is dead. Oh, college football's no good. We're losing college football." Why do you care if the player at Alabama gets paid or not? I mean, you're watching the game, you're enjoying the game. You paid for your cable package, so you're involved in it as well. You're getting enjoyment out of these guys and girls competing. The biggest thing for me, and the biggest concern for me, is the non-revenue sports. What's going to happen to the volleyballs? What's going to happen to the rowing? What's going to happen to the men's and women's tennis? Is Alabama going to have to cut sports to be able to afford, okay, this 22% pie, this 22% chunk that's now really a new line item on the budget? How is that going to affect the rest of the athletic department? Now, look, we'd be naive to say, oh, everybody's going to keep their job, and all the sports, nobody's going to be cut. I think that that's going to be the biggest problem. Not that college football has lost its way and lost its soul, and college basketball is no fun anymore. Look, if you get people that tell you, oh, I'm just not going to watch anymore, that's not true. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. On Saturday, when the Crimson Tide comes out of Bryant-Denny Stadium, they're going to be watching on ESPN, watching on ABC, or their butts are going to be in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Fans are fans, and you're not going to – you might, but I think it's going to be a very, very rare case where a guy says, you know what, these players are getting paid, there goes my enjoyment. I think that's just I think that's a silly thing to suggest because they were getting paid last year with NIL. They were getting paid the year before with NIL. And you can go all the way back to SMU. Many of them, not all, but a good percentage were getting paid in different ways throughout the course of my entire lifetime. So I don't think the college sports are going to change. I think that you're going to be able to ask the athlete to do a little bit more now. You're going to say, okay, athlete X or Y or Z, you got to show up on campus at this spot or show up in Tuscaloosa at that spot. I think you're going to be able to ask the athlete to do a bit more now. And so we'll see just kind of how it falls and how the trickle down effect really applies here to Tuscaloosa, applies to Mississippi State, and applies to Missouri. I think, schools like Mississippi State, where football, obviously is king, it's king everywhere in the SEC, but how is it going to affect these smaller sports, these non-revenue sports? Now, Alabama's got a lot of sports that are club sports, most notably lacrosse and men's and women's hockey that are not scholarship sports. Are you going to see maybe some of these sports like tennis, like rowing, like maybe volleyball, opt instead to, okay, we're not a scholarship sport anymore. We're not competing in the NCAA anymore. I wonder how that's going to affect. And really, are these coaching salaries that have gone through the roof? And honestly, I have no problem with them going through the roof, but are these coaching salaries that have gone through the roof over the last 15 years, are they going to get reined in just a little bit? I think that it's going to take a creative athletic director. I think it's going to take a forward-thinking athletic director. And for that, I'm very grateful that Alabama has Greg Byrne. But, all this talk over the last 3 years, Alabama needs a new basketball arena. I think that's out the window at the moment. Now, obviously, there's different pieces of the pie. There's some of the money's coming from different places. But as far as Alabama investing in, we're going to re-up and spend a lot of money on facilities. Shoot, they just got $20 million a year added to their budget, basically as an expense. I think that any talk of a new arena and other capital projects are going to be put on hold for 2, 3, 5 years until these bigger athletic institutions can decide and determine exactly what this is going to look like and how much it's going to really change the dynamic of their athletic department. So we're still watching the NCAA lawsuits because they've still got a long way to go. Yes, this settled yesterday. All the power players settled yesterday, agreed to a settlement, but now the fun part comes out. Okay, how are we going to agree to pay this $2.7 billion? And is it going to be, a lump sum? No, it's not. Is it going to be prorated? Probably. Who gets the prorated? Is it all going to the football players? Do the women's basketball players get any? How do you determine who gets what? Obviously, the $2.7 billion is kind of a eye-grabbing headline that Alabama, is not going to be paying $2.7 billion. It's divided up amongst the power schools. But from 2016 to 2021, these players and athletes that are trying to get involved, hey, we missed out on NIL. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's going to take a long time, I think, for them to agree on the way that they divided up the payment schedule and really who's responsible for what money. Is Alabama responsible for a bigger piece of the pie than South Carolina or Mississippi State? Is Alabama responsible for a bigger piece of the pie than maybe Kansas State? Because of, obviously, look, we're not stupid here. The brand of Alabama is one of the 3 biggest brands in college sports, 4 or 5 biggest brands in college sports. I want to be disrespectful of anybody, and because of that, does that mean that Alabama is responsible for a bigger piece of this $2.7 billion than, say, a Wake Forest? I don't know. I think that's still going to be determined with the lawyers and in the settlement, and I think that's going to be very, very interesting to see going forward. Speaking of money in sports and tiers, and we've talked a lot about EA Sports, and we've talked a lot about the new video game, the new college football game. Look, we've got our friends Clicked Media, who has reported the schools are getting paid. Not only is Jalen Milroe getting paid for his name, image, and likeness in the game, and that's great. A lot of them got a set settlement for that. Jalen Milroe, Ryan Williams, everybody that you're going to be playing with in the game got themselves some money. But it comes out today, Clicked Media has said or reported that, okay, all the schools, 134 schools that are opted into EA Sports video game, all got paid as well, got payments as well. Basically, we're paying Alabama so we can put the put the licensing, use Yay Alabama's fight song and use the right color tone. And I found it very interesting the way they structured these payments. Obviously, going back to the earlier point, Alabama, one of the 3 to 5 biggest brands in college sports and in college football. Certainly, you're paying Alabama more than you're paying San Diego State. And comes out that it's true. There are 4 payment tiers. 4 payment tiers. Tier number 1 got paid just under $10,000. Tier number 3 got paid just under $40,000. Tier number 2 got paid just under $60,000. This is 9987, 3995, 59925. And then tier number 1 got paid just under $100,000 per school from EA Sports just to use their logos and just to use Bryant-Denny Stadium and just to use the right color scheme and just to use Big Al. Alabama's athletic department got a $100,000 payment from EA Sports. So you ask, who's in tier number 1 with Alabama? And I was a little bit surprised by a couple of these. Okay, Alabama, Ohio State, easy choices, duh. Tier number 1. Michigan, national champion last year in tier 1. Notre Dame, duh. Oklahoma, Georgia, yep, right there with you. LSU, Oregon, I'm still right there with you. And then you get 4 schools that are not bad schools. No, not bad at all. But I was just a little surprised that these 4 schools ended up making the tier 1 rankings for EA Sports. Oklahoma State, Penn State, Utah, and Iowa. And if you dig in a little bit further into why some of these schools were chosen, these are based on final finish rankings in the AP poll over the last 10 years, from 2014 to 2023. And so you've got, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 schools that are in Tier 1 getting this $100,000. And that's great. Roll Tide, Alabama's a part of it, and they should be. That should have been one of the easiest no-brainers. They're the first school on the graphic here from Clicked Media. But interesting schools in number 2. You got 2 premier blue bloods in this school number 2. And look, I've debated with my friends what a blue blood is and what not. But I fully believe, you can go horns down if you want, that Texas is a blue blood program. They've been a premier program my entire lifetime. But the last 10 years, okay, not always so good. How many coaches have they gone through in the last couple of years since Mac Brown? They had Charlie Strong. They had, Tom Herman for a year or two. Now they've got Steve Sarkisian. So they've been going through some coaches. They've been going through some times over there in Texas. You got Texas and Southern California. Obviously, Southern California, it's been a long time since Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and Pete Carroll in those days. But Southern California and Texas sitting here at tier number 2. And while, the AP poll and these results speak for themselves for the last 10 years, I wonder how these Texas fans and how these USC fans are going to receive this news. And moreover, one more school that thinks they're a blue blood that's not. Tennessee is in this tier 2 ranking. Tennessee and Auburn in this tier 2 ranking. How many of these daggum SEC schools are here? Oh, let's count them. Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Auburn. Keep on going. Mississippi State is 6. Kentucky is 7. Texas A&M is 8. And Missouri is 9. 9 schools from the SEC in this tier number 2 got themselves a $60,000 payment just to use their logos and their color schemes and their mascots and their fight songs. Just an interesting tidbit for us. Any tier 3s in the SEC? Yep, Arkansas right there. Arkansas, you scroll on down, you look. Arkansas is in tier 3, and our friends are Vanderbilt. Do I see our Vanderbilt in tier number 4? Yep, Vanderbilt in tier number 4. That makes sense. All right, so there's your SEC. You agree? You putting Georgia, LSU, and Alabama are your tier 1 schools in the SEC. Well, now you've got Oklahoma as well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to check out this EA Sports video game. Obviously, we've gone back and forth on what it's going to be and if it's going to be worth it. You've got writers at AL.com basically saying, don't get your hopes up, you're going to get disappointed. And I think that's the most stick in the mud opinion ever. Look, you haven't played the game in 10 years. It's going to be satisfactory. It's going to scratch that itch for the people who do play video games. I think it's a good thing for these Alabama football players to get themselves in a game. But Mike Elko had some very interesting comments, the new Texas A&M head coach. had some very interesting comments yesterday about video games. Let me make sure so I can pull it up verbatim. Video game. Yeah. This was yesterday, right? Mike Elko from Texas A&M basically says, let's see if I can get the quote. Yeah, in full disclosure, because I've been a part of this before, you can't imagine how much the release of a hot new video game can impact your football team, Elko joked during an appearance at the Houston Texas A&M Football Club. I remember going all the way back to when it was the second Call of Duty game, and it got released in October in the middle of one of our football seasons. We literally were having meetings with our defense about why it was not good to stay up until 4 a.m. playing Call of Duty. We had practice at 7 a.m. the next morning. I think that's funny. These coaches are at least in tune with what's going on. I mean, how could you not be? I'm sure that it's been essentially the subject of conversation over the last month or so inside these buildings. Now, obviously, a lot of these guys are on summer break and are doing other things like these guys are in Tampa, these Alabama guys. But I imagine the conversations have been heated. Oh, I can't wait to play Billy. I can't wait to play Steven. I'm going to take my own character and I'm going to score 10 touchdowns. Whatever the case may be, I'm sure the trash talk is flying. I wonder if there will be any sort of rules and regulations in the building about, hey, at 10 o'clock, all the video games go off. Because, Alabama, they've got that nice players lounge over there in the Malamore Athletic Facility. I wonder if there's got to be any sort of rules or restrictions about, hey, we gotta make sure we're getting to bed on time. Now, the game's not getting released in the middle of October like that Call of Duty game was. And Modern Warfare 2, I think I had that as well as probably a 13, 14, 15-year-old, whatever the case may be. And great game. I can see why people were staying up way late for it. But this game's not going to be coming out in November. It's coming out in July next month? Mid-July. And I know that a lot of people are really, really excited about it. Maybe for the Alabama faithful or for the people who are, the college football faithful, they can get it out of their system, play a lot of games, and get it out of their system before fall camp gets started. I want to go to one more topic today, and we've been hanging out here on the Joe Gaither Show on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. I want to go to one more topic today, and that is NCAA Super Regionals. Alabama's taking on the Tennessee Vols right now. Let me see. It's 3:30. Let's see if we can get a scoreboard update. Alabama softball. Little update. Alabama softball. We'll see where they are. I know they've probably played. Yep. Top of the second inning. Alabama won. Oh, yes. Alabama won. Tennessee 0 after the first inning. Did Alabama fix all of its hitting woes this past weekend in the regional? If you can take this first game against Tennessee, oh my gosh, Coach Murphy talked about the pressure on Tennessee on Wednesday, basically saying, oh, we're going in there carefree. We're playing them at their house. They're the favorite. Oh, you steal this first game, Alabama, and look, all bets are off. You could find yourself in Oklahoma City. And we've talked about the team, not a ton this year, but enough to get the point across that it hasn't been a great year. All that goes out the window if you make it to Oklahoma City. And that's the magic of some of these sports. Like, yeah, you've been riding the roller coaster of, oh, my gosh, this team is tough to watch. They can't hit consistently. Oh, they're wasting all this good pitching. But in 2 weekends, you go last weekend, you explode, and you get to the and you get out of regionals pretty much in emphatic fashion, really 3-0 in regionals, and then you go up to Knoxville, you take a 1-0 lead right here. I think that the girls are in a very dangerous mindset for other opponents. They're in a very dangerous, hey, we've had a not so hot year, but we have a chance to really salvage and really make something of it. And look, they're making something of it right there in Knoxville right now. And I find that to be awesome for them. Top of the second, Marley Giles trots to first base after being hit by a pitch. Okay, so great. That's 2 minutes ago. You got Marley Giles on first base in the second inning, and you guys can pay attention to that all weekend long. It's going to be a 3-game series in Tennessee. Katie Wyndham's covering it for us at BamaCentral.com. You can follow it right there on the front page at Bama Central. We're going to get out of here for the day. I believe I'm going to do a show tomorrow with our Mississippi State correspondent, Jacob Bain, Mississippi State has had an incredible SEC tournament. We're getting into the meat of college baseball. The latest D1 baseball rankings still have Alabama as a 3 seed going to Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, Nebraska, Alabama, Southeast Missouri State. That looks like your regional for the Crimson Tide baseball team. So we're going to try to get in touch with our friend Jacob Bain tomorrow to hear about Mississippi State's baseball team and their postseason outlook, and then we'll reconvene with him at another time to talk football and get a kind of a preview on what Jeff Levy and them boys are doing. We'll get out of here for the day. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll give you a bonus show on a Saturday. We're trying to wrap some things up and do some things a little bit differently on the Joe Gaither Show. Spread our wings just a little bit into the Walsh Writing Network, these other programs on these other websites that we are part of. I appreciate everybody who's joined us on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com. I appreciate everybody who's chimed in on the comment section at Joe Gaither 6. You can always find me on your favorite social media machine. We'll get out of here for the weekend. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Hope you guys have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend.